Carnivore Confessions, Episode 2. Hello, folks. For the few that are watching, I really appreciate it. My beard is growing back in. Okay, what are the confessions today? Confessions today for carnivore. Just some thoughts. I have been stalled out on the weight loss for a couple of weeks. And what happens then, you start being concerned about if this is correct. You start being concerned about if this is going to be sustainable. It's normal, right? Everyone has doubts or problems when it comes to results and measuring results and attempting to be, consistent while also being realistic. And saying, well, hey, I can't be dogmatic. I got to do what I have to do to lose weight or to be healthy. And so I ought to consider what I'm doing. Is carnivore going to work for me? It worked in the past, and now it's taking longer to lose weight, or seems to not be good, having the results I once had, etc. And so what happens? You start doubting yourself. You start doubting the possibility of change, things like that. And then you start seeing different videos about different options of weight loss. If you're in that world and you see those shorts or social media posts or articles that are promoting maybe the sugar diet, right? Or protein sparing modified fast or dry fasting, or if it fits your macros coming back around again, or fruitarian diets, things like that, right? I think the truth is all of these diets can lose weight. It seems to be obvious. Which diet is best? It's the one that you can stick to, as far as I can tell. And so, again, I'm still carnivore. I will remain carnivore. I have an ileostomy. I have a bag. I have no colon. So, I'm staying carnivore, right? I don't have to do this. The other thing is, you got to remember these people that are doing this kind of like experimentation, they're not you, and they experiment all the time. Let's say you listen to Mark Bell or Cole Robinson. These guys have changed their diets a bunch of times, and so we start getting upset if they change their position so that it no longer aligns with us. Fine. Like, this is a tribe of carnivore folks, and there are some people that are in or out of the tribe, right? So what? Like, the biggest thing that most people want to know is this sustainable? Is this giving results? And so you got to stop paying attention to influencers. You got to stop paying attention to the trends. For instance, people will bring out like particular science that has come in the past year or 5 years or even 6 months. But that science study has very few applications, right? We're not satisfied unless we have something that seems to work, whether it's in theory or in maybe even a small trial. But these applications of that trial aren't you, right? They don't even describe your situation. I don't have a lot of information about long-term carnivore use in ileostomy patients, but I do have personal experience that says if I eat plant matter and fruit or sugar, I have gas pain, I have bloat. It's a very uncomfortable time. Then why is weight loss slower? I don't know. I mean, the reality is, if I'm honest, years ago, I was more active. I didn't have as many children. I didn't have as many aches and pains. And so I was on carnivore and also active. And nowadays, I'm not as active, right? So let's be honest with myself, right? I do a lot of work in software development. I'm dealing with long nights, early mornings, things like that. So I'm just not as active, right? But I'm still losing weight. Okay, so I stalled out, and then this morning I lost another 2.5 pounds. I'm still losing weight, right? But it's not as fast. So you have a tendency to start looking for possible quick fixes or stop sticking to the plan. And I remember when I first started this back in 2018, the weight was coming off quickly, but you forget that there were periods of time where you felt like, this isn't working. Nobody else likes this. People are saying I'm crazy, all that kind of stuff. And so you kind of look back on it with rose-colored glasses, and you're like, oh, that was a perfect time. Why isn't it perfect now? It definitely wasn't. I know it wasn't. There's no way it was. There was a lot of ups and downs in that world. Sleep issues, adjusting, fighting temptation, talking to people and having your doubts come in. So the same thing now. So now, you're not looking back at rose-colored glasses, you're looking at yourself and you're looking for grass is always greener. Like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work as well. So you're on a diet, and for me, I've been on since January 1, well, really late December, and I've lost like 45 pounds. I mean, it's now June. I think that's fair. How many, I have to stop worrying about the potential faster methods that people are experimenting with. The other thing is, if you're honest with yourself and you go into, let's say, a fasting or a sugar diet scenario, or a protein sparing modified fast, or even a calorie deficit, can you honestly say that you won't be tempted to overeat or eat something that's too long? Let's say you go on low fat sugar diet. Up to you, but is it not going to make you look at a piece of cake and be like, yeah, for sure, or donuts, be like, it's sugar, my calories are low, all these justifications? Or can you stick to a high fat, high nutrition, easily absorbable, bioavailable meat diet better? And in my case, the answer is yes. So that's it. I mean, that's really it. Again, I keep saying this and I'll keep coming back to it. The carnivore diet doesn't fix your discipline, but no diet fixes your discipline. Your will to do what's correct, right? Your will to stay on the path. That comes from within. That comes from your relationships with food and others. You cannot continue to look at these people online and think that they are you, and also think that they are your priest, your spiritual father, or your diet father. It's not what's going on. You're looking for a quick fix so that you can have your cake and eat it too, almost literally in this case, is not a move that you want to make, unless you are prepared for a different set of disciplinary actions to undertake. So if you've been working hard in the carnivore world or the ketogenic world, lots of meat, high fat, or lots of meat, high protein, high fat, and you've developed a discipline and a habit around that, and you're having results you need to over the long term, I would say stay with that. That would be my advice. Because if you move to a different set of dietary positions or a different set of goals, your discipline will have to change. Now, I also think with regards to having children, and say we endorse a high carb, low fat, or sugar diet, I don't think it helps a number of issues that they have. One, it doesn't help them moderate their intake of food. So if they're, having a sweet tooth, they're just going to think they can eat sweets, and they should. There's a sense in which they're going to think that they can get away with eating candy all the time or fruit all the time without consequence. And that definitely doesn't seem to be the case as far as anyone else is concerned. There's going to be a situation where they have to fight temptation to eat bad foods, overeat, things like that. So, creating discipline around food is key for many families. Now, I do understand there seem to be people out there that don't have this problem, whether their hormonal levels, their genetic makeup, something about them, their activity they don't really gain weight as easily. They don't have a problem with overeating. There's people like that. But my family, for sure, like everyone has problems with overeating. That seems to be the case. Overeating, over drinking, whatever it is. There's just that hormonal, genetic, or disposition in the family. So I don't think giving people the carte blanche to eat as much as they want, which I think is the case with anything, with carnivore, sugar diet, fruit diet. The idea that you can eat as much as you want without consequence, I think is a fool's errand. It doesn't fix your syndrome of overeating. And then when you make a mistake and you haven't fixed your overeating problem, things get out of control. So you're stuck in carnivore, you love carnivore, but you still overeat. And when I say overeat, you eat to the point of pain or discomfort or way too much energy and that you're not going to use. And that's not fixed with another diet, because you're going to do the same. So I don't think that this idea of these diets, eat as much food as you want, I don't think any of that is ideal. And I definitely don't think, for many people, myself included, that's how you want to live your life. You want to live your life in such a way that you can eat so that you are satisfied to perform the activities and feel good. You do not want to live to eat, which is what I did in the past. Eat everything all the time, as much as you can. If you're on the strict diet, just eat a boatload of that food. That's not the message here. So that's really all I wanted to get into this morning with this episode. I'm staying the course. I feel very good. I'm still a little congested from the allergies that are going on, but way better than I was. And I'm hopeful that this time around I've learned some things, and I'll be able to keep this weight off and continue to feel better. All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all later.